All right, let's talk to Bill Stanton, former NYPD officer. Thanks so much for coming in. There are some other reports that the wife has already been picked up in the UAE. How essential is she to this investigation?
I think she's a pivotal point here. We're starting to see a pattern as the profiles of these terrorists are changing. It used to be a group of men. Now you're seeing men with their wives.
Right.
Because it's easier to go undercover and to blend in. And do I think it's a coincidence that she disappears right before the bombing, just like in San Bernardino? The wife evaporated. Where is she now? I believe she's in Houston somewhere. We're starting to see a pattern, and it's not good for us.
Well, this woman we're talking about apparently is in the United Arab Emirates. He met her abroad. He took these at least 3 trips that we know about to Afghanistan and Pakistan. On one of the trips, he met her. She was pregnant, and she had to wait to come back into the United States, according to some of the reports that I read. Were these flags along the way? Because like you said, that story sounds very familiar to what we read about the San Bernardino bombers.
And believe me, they're always trying to be one step ahead of us. So now you see coming into the country a man and a woman pregnant, you're not going to be as apt. Right. Oh, this is a happy family, not a terrorist cell. So the fact that these wives are getting out of Dodge right before the bombing, right, it's not a coincidence. It's very important.
Even though, as you look at the records, some of the places that he visited, Qaeda, which is an al-Qaeda stronghold in Afghanistan. Also his father and his father's reports. I read one story about his father may have fought for the Mujahideen for the Soviet Union against the United States and Afghanistan before he came to the U.S. Now he's here. He reports his son, not to the police, but to the FBI. Nothing comes of that, it seems. What do you make of that?
Well, I think things are getting lost in the shuffle. There's so much information being processed. Yeah. It's very hard. We have limited manpower. That's why it's incumbent upon all of us. You know, it sounds cliche. See something, say something, and stick to the point. Don't make one phone call and give up. If you see something that you're suspicious of, you know, hammer away, call the authorities.
So that was really the pattern in this case, because when you look at how it broke down, there were people who called and said something and it was ignored. You say in this case it was lost in the shuffle, maybe. We don't, I mean, or perhaps it was, you know, they looked at it and said, I don't really see anything here. What did work were the people who said, I see a bomb, I see this thing. I mean, it was more the citizens that really helped in this case more than anything else. Let me play you something else that was said by Mike McCall, the chairman of the Homeland Security, House Committee on Homeland Security, and what he said about the phones that we found at this point. Listen.
Can you say in this case that he received help from overseas?
We can't at this point in time. Now, remember, the cell phones are being analyzed for what's called encrypted communications for any contact. His computers are being analyzed for any conversations he would have had with operatives, perhaps in Pakistan or Afghanistan or out of Raqqa, Syria.
That's important, right?
That's very important, because I view these characters not as criminals as we know them, someone sticking up a 7-Eleven, but actually enemy combatants. If you make a bomb, whether to use against our armed forces overseas or our citizens on the homeland, you're not a criminal. You are waging war, and you should be treated as a prisoner of war, not read your Miranda rights, in my opinion.
That's a conversation a lot of people are having right now. We're going to talk about that more later in the show. Thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate your insight.